Welcome, everybody, to today's very, very incredibly special episode of the I Went Outside Today podcast. This is one of your three hosts, Chris.
This is Cheryl.
You sound so proud of yourself. Like, I can hear how proud of yourself you sound.
I'm so proud.
I'm Sydney.
I'm proud.
I did the thing.
I am proud of the things we achieved together to this point, since this is the end of season 3.
Is
so
it
far.
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm proud that Sydney got her integrity together and went and followed through on her word that she would go to the furry convention.
I was really drunk when I made that promise. So I don't know how much integrity had to do with it. I'm literally like not even the same person from season 1. And I didn't want to go.
What do you think season 1 Sydney would say to season 3 Sydney? What names would you call yourself?
I don't think I would call myself any names, but I would be like, oh, good for your liver because you don't drink anymore.
Good for your liver, Sydney.
Good for your liver. It's not by choice. I can't get drunk.
You can try.
I have tried.
Now you got to switch to hard drugs, I guess.
I guess so.
Time to buy some cocaine.
Season 4, hard drug Sydney.
Sydney does, what is the new drug on the streets? Tranquilizer? That's turning people into zombies?
Probably.
Oh, I heard about that. That
Sydney
doesn't look
tries
fun at all.
Trank today, and then we just record you as you're on the drug, and you're like...
I don't know about that. No. But that was also like pre-pandemic that I agreed to go to the furry convention.
I don't think it being after the pandemic really changes anything.
I'm just like very antisocial now. I was more social before the pandemic. I lost all my socialness.
Now you hate people?
Yeah.
But you're clawing your way back to the person you used to be. With the help of your podcasting friends.
Family.
That's
And
right.
your
Family
schemes.
now. And the schemes, I suppose Cheryl can explain
Yeah, Cheryl the Decepticon.
the whole process
Of what?
of getting the tickets to the show.
Yeah, so we asked you if you wanted to do a Broadway thing.
Is that what this was?
Yup.
That's not cool.
But it is. It's Broadway.
It literally says on your lanyard.
We didn't even go to the Broadway show.
Well, that was someone's fault for sleeping in.
I didn't know the rules of the furry convention. I'm not the plan guy.
You asked us what time, and then we said 10. You're like,
Who wants to go at 10 to a furry convention?
12:75 is when I'll show up.
You could have been home earlier, had more of your day to recover from the craziness.
I'm not a morning guy.
You're not a morning person. You're not a late night person.
I'm not a late night person.
This like window of like time that you're agreeing to do things keeps getting smaller and smaller.
I'm 12 to 3.
It's going to be between like noon to noon 30
Yeah.
on a Saturday, but only if the sun is in the sky.
I'm very agreeable to those terms. Don't even put those ideas in my head because I get so tired if it's cloudy.
So initially when I tried to buy the passes, I was going to try buy one for Saturday. And then when I emailed them to be like, do I actually have to register to go? They're like, yeah, but there should be an option for like just a Saturday pass. And there was not. So surprise, you're part of the furry people. You're
Thanks.
welcome.
You got a membership.
You got a membership now.
Thanks so much for that.
So there's the Furry convention, which is the name that we had gone to. Let me get the description here.
I'm the only person in this country that has my first and last name, so I don't love that I'm on the furry registry.
Don't worry, I didn't use your real email address.
This is sure to be a show you won't want to miss. Furry is proud to present Broadway Tales, a 4-day production of epic tales and adventures for all ages. Tales is also spelled Tails.
Like animal tales.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Come be a part of our show, we did, as Western Canada's premier anthropomorphic convention, commonly known as Furries. We invite you to join this coming July 6th to 9th at the Edmonton Inn and Conference Center. So this is the one where it's sort of open to everybody, but now since you're a member and you've been to the convention, you can go to the exclusive events. Like, I think they have a Christmas party. You can get everything. And you have to go.
I quit.
Because they all were very happy to see you there.
I won't even go to like an office Christmas party. So like not going to a furry Christmas party. I'm not a Christmas party guy.
You're not an anything guy.
I'm not an anything guy.
That's fair.
You're a nothing guy.
I'm a nothing guy.
Maybe you should see a therapist.
Meh. Meh.
Help me, I've become nothing. Help me be something.
That's like an Evanescence song.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah, that's Bring Me to Life.
Yep.
I just wrote it right here. You guys all saw it.
Well done.
She's all like, save me from the nothing I become. And the guy's like, meh, meh, meh.
Yeah, I'm dedicating this song to Sydney.
Excellent.
So, for people who decide later that they would like to go to the furry convention, there are a lot of waivers you have to sign. I had to sign 2 waivers. Yeah.
Why?
You okay?
Yeah. Why? For what?
Well, so the first one was just basically explaining all the stuff with the ID, but the second one was like code of conduct. There's areas where you're allowed to take photos, areas you're not allowed to take photos, conduct you're supposed to use if you're going to take photos of people in their fur costumes at the
Oh,
event.
that's all very standard.
Yeah, but I had to sign a waiver for it.
Interesting.
Yeah, saying that you agreed to follow those rules, so...
I don't think I've ever had to sign I've done like anime conventions,
Yeah.
like big ones in Seattle, and they do all that. Anything where people are dressing up, I guess, that's what that's for.
Oh, interesting. I've
Yeah.
never seen that at the Edmonton Comic Expo.
It's definitely,
Yeah.
I think it's Sakuracon. Yeah.
I mean, they have the signs, and they have like the signs up everywhere. Like you
Yes.
can't just go up and touch the cosplayers.
Yes.
Can't grope them.
Yes, it did say on the brochure that a fursuit does not equal consent.
Yes.
It's interesting about the photo rules, though, because their faces are covered. So,
Well, so there are actually areas where they can take off the head and eat food. And
we weren't allowed in there.
yeah, in those areas, you're not allowed to take photos. And so that was another part of the whole thing. Like if,
Technically, in that room, they're taking their faces off.
yes.
They're their personas.
Yeah. So it was interesting filling out those waivers, agreeing to do things for you. What was your first thought when you saw the email and the podcast?
It was, oh no. And then it was $65.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So it was like $130 for both of you.
And I think that's for the full weekend as well.
Yeah.
So you can go back. It's still going on today, Sydney,
I'm
as of
fine.
time of recording. This is the day after.
I feel like we're already recording, so it's wrapped up.
Sydney, can you explain to the ignoramuses in our audience what a furry is?
I don't know. They didn't cover it in any of the panels we went to.
What is your perception of a furry?
Just like a guy in a fursuit.
Okay, so they're guys
Or a lady.
or ladies, or the one lady.
Just like ladies and guys that like want to be a fox part-time. That's my understanding. What is it? What does being a furry mean to you, Chris?
I don't know. Somebody woke up late and we didn't get to the psychologist panel on explaining furries.
I was tired. And I didn't know because I didn't check the schedule or do any homework. I didn't realize that we were arriving during an event desert.
Ah.
Sorry.
So that's right. Sydney woke up very, very late,
Medium late.
rolled out of bed, rolled up the stairs, rolled up into our mom's rent-a-car.
Our mom drove us to the furry convention.
Actually, technically, I drove Chris partway there.
It's true. And then mom picked me up from the mall
Yeah.
where I was poking around looking for clothes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you bused there.
No, I drove him. I actually dropped him off near the Shaw Conference Center because that's originally where we thought it was.
Oh.
And then he walked. Well, I guess it was closer to WeBook Inn. Shout out WeBook Inn.
I took the train
Did you?
to the mall.
Oh, well
Okay.
done.
Yep.
I was going to say, there's a train, you fool.
Way ahead of you,
Yeah.
you fool.
I'm not good at morning events, as you know. So that's really on you.
Is that?
Yeah.
So, yep, I kept messaging you and you're like,
Don't be mad.
noon 30, 12:45, 6 p.m.
We got there
9
at
p.m.
12:30. We did it.
And you're like, mom's coming and like, you want me to pick you up too? And I was like a 20-minute walk from the hotel. I'm like, sure. And you guys didn't even leave for like 25 minutes.
Yeah, you could have made it there before we showed up.
But I accepted the ride and got dropped off.
Yeah. Was like all confused about where to go. And then she just found someone wearing a tail and followed them.
Yeah.
And I was like, please stop. She just creeped behind this girl wearing a tail, like all the way to the entrance. And I was like, just drop us off a block away. It's fine.
I like how she said, "Hey, Sydney, check out that tail," and you didn't get her joke.
I didn't like it. I don't encourage jokes I don't like.
So we showed up, we got dropped off, and this is at the main entrance of a hotel. Sydney immediately just stared at the ground, and her spine lost all strength, and she just started slumping over to one side.
There's too many people.
The joy dropped from her face.
It was crowded.
The light left her eyes.
Yeah.
So this is the same hotel that we did the antique market in earlier in the season.
I knew we'd been there before.
Yeah.
You've been there more than that. Not that this needs to be in the podcast, but this is where your grandpa got married.
Yeah, I knew that too.
I
But
told you that.
but I was like, we've been here for something. I thought it was the bird convention.
Oh.
And Chris was like, this isn't where we saw birds.
Yeah, you're totally wrong.
He's like, we saw birds somewhere else. And I was like, we've been here for something. And he did not tell me that we were there for the antique market, but I knew it.
Call back to episode 10 of season 3, our antique episode.
So was it as busy as the antique market or busier?
Busier.
Okay.
Busier, or maybe just because like everyone's in fursuits, which are
Yeah.
big, so you just feel like you're more in the way.
Fair.
It's
you're-
true.
Yeah.
People are taking up more space, especially with tails.
Yeah. So it was crowded in that way.
How many people would you say were in fursuits?
A lot.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'd say a quarter were in full suits.
Yeah. Full suits was rare, but like half had heads or paws
yeah.
or something.
Okay.
We're under a heat warning in
Yeah.
Edmonton, so
It's probably a good call.
a lot of people made the smart choice of just wearing the head
Yes.
and then the gloves and then the feet.
Yeah.
A
Fair
couple
call.
people just only went feet, which I could respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those suits are expensive, so I also can see why it is appealing to only get a couple pieces here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did see one of the vendors was selling a full suit for $4,000.
Jeez.
Crazy.
Sydney got real disappointed when she learned about the price, and then she had to say goodbye to wearing it.
No, I didn't. Did not.
So if Chris had shown up in a fursuit, what would you have done?
Yeah, Sydney.
I would have made you go in the parade because you would have had to go in the parade.
That's right, there was a parade.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I feel like I wouldn't have trusted that it was you, though. I would have been like, this asshole set me up to go to the furry convention with strangers.
We should have.
I showed up dressed for the furry convention at least.
I also showed up dressed for the furry convention.
How so?
I had a cat bag.
You're not really wearing a bag. You
I
carry
was
a bag.
wearing a bag.
I was wearing my corgi Hawaiian shirt, my very nice shirt that Cheryl got me.
We both had animal things, so
I was wearing it though.
I was also wearing my thing on my shoulder.
You should have just put a pair of cat ears from Halloween on a headband and...
I didn't dress up as a cat for Halloween. I'm not a dress-up guy. I don't dress up for Halloween.
So we show up and we go into the lobby, which is just chock full of furry people. Immediately, though, I saw somebody brought their dog, and I'm like, I could have brought Freddy here.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
But it turned out Gears Animal Rescue was there, and they had a choice selection of dogs. They seemed to be, for the most part, happy, although there was one dog that was, like, hiding underneath the table with its butt ends hanging out and its, like, head under the tablecloth. It was not excited to be in this room full of madness.
To be fair, I suspect that's what Freddy would have done, too.
It's true. Just would have sat under a table.
I'm surprised none of the dogs tried to eat any of the furry suits.
I'm surprised I didn't get overly excited. So I don't know what furry culture is like, but a lot of people were walking around with squeaky toys and squeaking them.
Oh, interesting.
So I think Freddy would have gone apeshit and tried to run over and take them.
Yeah.
Went in the lobby, and Sydney's affect continued to gradually decline.
Maybe because someone kept criticizing my affect, it kept declining.
You sure
I'm
did.
just a neutral kind of guy. I'm not like a super excitable guy person.
And it took us a little while to get to the registration booth to get our badges.
That was stressful.
They had one originally at the front door, but they're like, it's closed down, go to the main one. And we had to like go through down a little hallway to find them.
Oh, wow.
We got in line, we got our badges, which seemed to be a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was so stressful because the guy was just like, we thought we were both on one barcode, but we weren't on one barcode. And then my phone's in dark mode, so that, like, my barcode wasn't even scannable.
Yep.
But he looked mine up. But like the guy that was helping us, the other guy was like yelling that it was like the wrong way for everything to get done. And the other guy was like, I know how Con Master works or whatever their software is. He's like, and usually it'll say if it's been printed or not. And it was just the whole thing. It was like uncomfortable.
Wow.
I bet his persona was a badger because he was badgering the employees.
How long you had that joke tucked away for?
I just thought about it like 10 seconds ago.
He was badgering. I found it very stressful.
So-
I didn't like it.
Did they end up checking your ID?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering.
They verified your name.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get Christmas gifts from them now.
Don't worry, they copied down your address.
Birthday cards.
Oh, that's not my address. Ah. Thank
Well-
God for procrastination.
If they ask me, I'll tell them. What do we do after that, Sydney?
We were like, I think that's when we realized that we were in a total like panel desert, like literally no panels for like 2 hours. And the next thing that was coming up was the parade. So it was confusing because it said like parade staging and then parade south parking lot. So we went to like the parade staging, which is like to be in the parade.
Yes, correct.
So that's not what we wanted.
No.
But then we just heard this guy like talking in the hallway. So we just like eavesdropped on him, but I wasn't really listening.
You said you were listening.
I said I was listening, but I was forgetting because I was trying to look at the schedule for like, what the fuck are we going to do here? We're in this crisis.
Yeah, so we walked over into the staging area, and there's this guy in a lab coat, sort of holding court. He's taking questions. And so I'm like, you know what? Let's stop here. He looks like he knows what he's saying. He's talking with great confidence. And he turned out to be one of the panel hosts from the panel that we missed because Sydney slept in.
I didn't know that we had a panel to be at.
It's a convention, Sydney.
Well, I didn't know we had a panel at 10. You need to be more specific in your communication about time expectations.
We asked you what time you wanted to be there for.
Yeah, implying that there was like a choice.
I'm going to invite you to Google external locus of control sometime later.
No. It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
You've got half the definition there right there.
And like we found the psychologist guy, so you didn't even miss the panel.
We missed the panel.
He was basically giving the panel probably.
We wouldn't really know that because we missed the panel.
It's probably on YouTube.
So yeah, I think his name was Dr. Nuka. He is a psychologist. He's from the University of Alberta, I think. And I don't know if he specialized or wrote a thesis or sort of just made it his focus on the furry community in general. So he's taking questions and answering them. And so we got to learn a little bit about
in the
the
brochure.
furry community from him.
About escapism.
He was talking about like the reason why a lot of people do it is because it's like some of it's escapism, some of it's joining like a very niche community where you feel like you definitely belong.
Yep.
He was also kind of discussing like the parallels between the furries as a group, bronies as a group, and there was a third group. I learned a few interesting tidbits because Sydney wasn't paying attention.
Okay, when the guy said about bronies, though, my friend at Millennium used to play this song that I think is like by a brony band. I don't even know the name of it, but the song is called Discord, and I just like immediately got it stuck in my head. So that's where I was.
Yeah. So the guy said musicians in every community, overwhelmingly the bronies have the most musicians. And they're musicians as bronies or brony style music.
That's cool.
But apparently the brony population has been in decline for a long time now, and it's like getting smaller and smaller. He said all of the brony musicians he used to follow changed their online avatar and profiles from being a brony into being just regular humans.
Bronies did blow up for a while, and now it's like My Little Pony's not very popular. I wonder what that's all about.
Yeah, it's
Trends.
interesting.
I mean, it was popular enough that my friend was collecting the toys for McDonald's.
Nice.
He was saying the big brony conventions, those have kind of all fallen by the wayside and gone, which ruins future episode possibilities for Sydney.
Oh, no.
We could have sent you to a brony convention.
Why do you think that is, though? Because, I mean, like, anime-thons are going strong and have for a long time. I feel like the bronies is, like, pretty short. It's a bit of a blip.
I suspect because My Little Brony is one show and anime convention is a whole
Genre.
entertainment format.
Interesting.
I do like how you called it My Little Bronies.
I didn't even notice that. My little brony. How I like to pat his magical hair.
So, yeah, we basically did listen to the furry psychologist.
We got to a Q&A, which is like an encore Q&A because we probably also missed the regular Q&A.
Yeah.
We nailed it.
Good
We
job.
did a good job.
Did you guys make it to the parade?
Yeah.
Yep, parade was the next thing we did. So we went out. It was in the south-facing parking lot, so they're out in full sun and 30-degree weather, and they're full-on fursuits.
Okay.
That was an interesting choice.
Yeah, I would not attempt that myself, but good for them. That is commitment.
We were like at the end of the parade line, and some of them definitely, a couple had their heads off by the end.
Yeah.
I saw one guy who just had his whole head off. He was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was worried there didn't seem to be more. I'm just surprised no one was dehydrated or got heat stroke doing that.
They had water canteens everywhere
Oh,
They did.
inside.
Yeah.
They did.
Would you say that the parade was like organized, or was it more just like anyone who had a fursuit could go be in the parade?
The latter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sort of went over the intercoms, like everyone who wants to be in the parade, show up here.
Oh, that's cute.
You didn't even have to be a furry. There was a Kermit the Frog that was like half Kermit the Frog and half fishnet leggings, neither of which are furry.
No. Well,
Then Chris said there's dragons and stuff too, so you don't have to have fur to be a furry.
Well, the
Yep.
dragons walked right by us.
Yeah.
There was dinosaurs.
I saw the dragons too. I saw it as well. We both saw it equally.
Do you know those Velociraptor masks that came out with Jurassic Park, where you'd strap it onto your head and the jaw would move while
oh
you're
yeah,
talking?
yeah.
A lot of people had turned those into like furry masks.
Oh, cool.
So they took like the Velociraptor face and then they would attach furry ears and stuff all around it.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot of Velociraptor faces.
Ah, cool. That's an interesting way of doing it. I mean, in theory, you could just glue a bunch of feathers to a Velociraptor, and then it would still be a Velociraptor costume.
I think so covered the whole head because those masks only covered the front of
Yeah.
the face. So maybe they just wanted to do a whole head.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see anyone with feathers. Maybe you're not allowed feathers at the furry convention.
I mean, there's nothing stopping you.
Well, it wasn't on the costumes.
Kermit the Frog isn't covered with fur either.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I said he
like,
was felty.
Felty.
Yeah.
I suppose so.
But again, it was like half Kermit the Frog and then half fishnets and high heel boots.
Yeah.
It was an interesting choice.
Yes.
What were your favorite furries that you saw at the parade?
I think I said the grumpy cat looking one that had his arms crossed. Yeah.
It's your spirit animal.
Yeah, it was like a cougar and he looked real angry and he had his arms crossed. And I was like,
Nice.
me too. I mean, don't get me wrong though, those fursuits, like the full body ones, they're obviously well done and quite expensive looking. So
Yeah.
You also
Yeah.
like the inflatable suit guy.
I really like the inflatable suit guy. It was just good comedic effect every single time. It was like a minion,
Okay.
like body shape thing.
It was
How do
like,
you even describe it?
do you know that video game Among Us?
Yes.
Okay, it was one of those guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very neat. And
Yeah.
so it was just an inflatable suit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
okay.
so he would like pretend that he couldn't get through a door. He
Yeah.
would chase people like in a shuffle, like
Yep.
scuffle. It was fucking funny every time I saw him.
That's
I
awesome.
was encouraging Sydney to be her true furry self and like dress up for the event, and she's like, no, they're too colorful. And the Among Us guy was all in a black costume, so I
Oh,
said
nice.
you totally could have done it.
Yeah.
Now she has the wheels turning in her head for next year.
Well, I'm just not a dress-up person. Like, the amount of admin it takes to fucking get a costume and wear it and have it look good is just not what I'm about.
You don't have to have it look good.
But I would want it to look
Oh.
good. And then if it wouldn't look good, I would be mad. And then I'd be like, well, let's just all die then because nothing's working out. That's why I don't do costumes.
Whoa.
Yeah, it escalates real fast for me.
I liked the bug furry. There was one there in a costume that had like extra arms.
Oh, cool.
I thought that was pretty slick. And there was one that was a wolf furry, and the mask he had on was quite lifelike, almost like a taxidermy mask.
Oh, wow.
So it was like pretty much like the exact shape of a wolf face.
That's cool.
I can't imagine it was easy to see out of because wolves have tinier eyes than we do.
I did hear a couple people complaining that the layout of the hotel didn't make itself welcoming to a bunch of people with
Yes.
limited vision.
That's true.
Because there's kind of like stairs everywhere and like these curvy paths, and
Yeah.
none of these guys can see.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Those of you who haven't been to it's the Edmonton Inn, right?
Yep.
There's like a winding thing around the center of it, and it used to be like a little man-made river, and it's now devoid of water, but it means that it's about knee height. So if you're trying to walk through there with limited vision, I can see you banging your knee into that or falling into where the fountain used to be. So that's definitely not ideal.
Yeah, there were a couple of furries that thought ahead and brought a handler, so they're like holding their arm and guiding
nice.
through spaces.
Very nice.
Smart.
So what did you guys do after that?
Well, I should say before that, when we showed up in the desert of events because Sydney slept in and made us late for things, we went to the like the Artist Alley marketplace.
Okay.
And we poked around there. And this is sort of like shop talk in the artist world, but if you're a furry artist and you take commissions, you can make quite a lot more as a furry artist than anything else. And it really showed in everybody's table setups. Like they had LED lights set up, like super professional, and like much more than you would see at like an anime convention or a Comic-Con. So you can definitely see like they have the funds and they like just sort of add a little bit more razzle dazzle to their booth. So a little bit of booth envy.
They were quite flashy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
They were
cool.
pretty fancy booth. Chris, I think, had a little bit of artist envy there. Are you thinking of pivoting into furry commissions?
I've thought about it, like at times where like I wanted to quit my job, or I was like in between jobs where I'm like I could just, dive in, make a buttload of money.
And you said usually people pay too.
Oh,
Yeah.
they pay.
Yeah.
They pay. The more disgusting commissions you take on, the more money you make. It's like a whole Breaking Bad thing where you're just getting deeper.
So the weirder sex stuff you draw, then you can charge a premium.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how good that is for the psyche.
It's not.
You said that with the confidence of someone that knows.
Well,
I did convince Sydney,
Yeah.
and we'll see if she'll do it, to sell her ducks with fangs at the furry convention because I thought it would fit right in.
nice.
I feel like I'm not, like, ducks with fangs is, like, kind of over, though. I've not really been doing ducks with fangs lately.
Why not?
I don't know. I just don't do stuff.
You should do it.
I just already did it, though.
If the Rolling Stones are going on tour and singing songs they wrote up like 90 years ago, you could still continue to sell ducks with fangs.
I just haven't drawn any ducks with fangs lately. And then the other guy made that ducks with fangs is like anyone can do with ducks with fangs.
What ducks with fangs are you talking about?
You bought a duck with fangs.
Oh, yes. That's a little different. That's taxidermy.
Yeah. There's the people selling art. There's people selling stickers and keychains and things. There's also artists doing like live commissions, like they would draw it for people. And there was one guy that I thought was pretty interesting. He was doing 3D modeling for, VTubers, like virtual YouTubers where they animate themselves. Or like, I don't know, I think it's like a motion capture, but when it's on the screen on their live streams, it's their character.
Yes.
There was a guy there putting those together on a big TV screen.
That's really cool.
That guy's 100% been on Dragon's Den. I've seen that product before, just so you know. I don't think he got a deal.
You know more about the furry convention than we thought.
Well, I know who that guy is. Because I was like, he's not going to get a deal. Because he doesn't own that business. I think he licensed it from... He's licensed the technology for somewhere and started the business in Canada. And I think he does have exclusive rights. I could be misremembering, but I'm sure that was a Dragon's Den thing.
Because there's like a large number of softwares that will let you puppet your own avatar. Yeah.
Oh.
There's even free ones online. You don't get like a whole lot of variability in facial expressions. The more expensive you pay, the more realistic you can get, obviously.
Yeah, I remember it being expensive on Dragon's Den.
I told Sydney when she starts doing her next Zoom meeting, she could show up as like a dragon or an animal.
Did you guys buy anything?
No.
I didn't really see anything that, suited me.
Fair.
Like, there's like animal artwork and then there's furry artwork.
Right.
And the two like are very
Yes, they're
different.
very different.
Like everything in furry artwork is almost sort of like Disney-fied. Like with the big eyes and the over-exaggerated smiles.
Yep. I definitely have seen my fair share of furry art.
But we went all around the market and then killed time.
Saw the parade. And then after the parade, I want to go inside and visit the rescue dogs, but every one of those dogs look extremely stressed out. Like, you can look in a dog's face and realize it's not having a good time. So I didn't bother the dogs at that point.
Fair.
Yeah, maybe they should have had them more in a bigger area or something. I don't know.
I mean,
it was a high traffic
I was
area.
gonna say events like that are kind of stressful. Like we took Freddie to the outdoor market at the Strathcona Mall thing, and he was getting overwhelmed.
Yep.
Oh,
So-
Strathcona Market is what? The farmer's market?
Yeah.
It's
Oh no,
busy.
not the farmers market. The
Canoe Volant.
antique mall. Oh yeah, the Canoe Volant too, but the antique mall sale.
Oh, okay.
We took him to the outdoor market there. Yeah, Canoe Volant was poor little guy.
Yep.
We had to take a lot of breaks.
But yeah, but they were also like right at the front door.
Yeah.
Maybe if they put them in a room that you had to kind of walk by.
Yeah, that would be better.
Because they had the window behind them and then all the foot traffic.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just the spot the hotel gave them. I don't know.
To kill a little bit of time until the panel started again, because Sydney slept in so late that we had to wait.
It's not like at any point you were like, hey, Furry Psychology starts at 10. We need to be there at 10.
I just said 10, and I expected you to respect this podcast.
Oh, I didn't know.
And then you're like, I slept in.
Well, no, I said, joke's on you. We're going at 11 because it took an hour to bus there. I didn't know I was getting a ride. So it just all came apart.
So after that, you guys went to the panels?
We had a bit of time to kill,
Okay.
and I wanted to figure out what's the footprint of the convention, so I just started going down hallways and peeking into rooms.
He'll just go anywhere.
Yeah.
He doesn't. It's stressful.
There's no signs that say you can't go down the hall, so like you go down the hall.
Yep.
He just goes. I was like constantly like, I don't think we're supposed to be here. I don't think there's anything down here. And he was just like there.
We went into the one part with stairs, and then you immediately complained about the stairs.
I did. But also I was like, there's nothing over here. And he was like, let's go up in this area.
And was there stuff there?
No, there's nothing over there.
Like, at first I thought there might be, because it was a bunch of, like, the tinier conference
Okay,
rooms,
yeah.
and there was event paper stapled to the wall, like,
Yeah.
would explain what's going on there, but it turned out they're for another convention from back in April.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
those signs were still up there here in July.
Good job.
So we passed by there's like the furry cool down room where they can pop their heads off, and they had like just enormous fans
Yeah.
placed all around the room. And they're just sort of like standing in front of them having conversations. Didn't really go in there.
I
Felt
don't
a
think we
little
were
weird.
allowed in there.
We were allowed in there.
Yeah, you can go in there.
In the furry lounge?
Yeah.
It
you
said
just-
furry people and handlers only.
I don't know.
There was a sign. And it did
I
say
didn't
no
see the
photographs.
sign.
Yes. No photographs for sure.
That was in the
You
waiver.
don't see any signs. You'll just go all around the town. He just does
Hotel.
it. All around the hotel town.
From there, we did the first panel.
What was the first panel about?
It was called The Great Debate. And they were going to debate hot button issues.
Okay.
So I expected that we were going to like walk in and it was going to be people in full furry suits being like transgender rights. And it was going to get real heated. That's not what it was at all.
No.
No, none of the debaters dressed up as furries. So it was just regular people talking about if cartoon characters are sexy or not.
Okay.
So you know the debaters on CBC,
Yeah.
the radio show? It was pretty much a copy and paste of that.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the host running the event was introducing each topic, loading with as many puns as possible.
Nice.
I was disappointed they weren't in costume.
To be fair, it's hard to hear those people talk through those costumes.
I guess, but
Do you think they were professional debaters or
no.
Okay.
No.
So they kind of let it slip that it was all scripted right from the start because everyone had sheets of paper in front of them and phones.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was like a scripted debate.
Okay.
But immediately the host screwed up who was
Debating what side.
arguing which side. The first topic was our cereal
I
mascot
took notes.
sexy.
Yeah, I took notes. I wrote down exactly what it was. It was what you said, but I'm bringing up my notes anyway.
Well done.
Our cereal mascot sexy, I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
So the one guy was arguing that they were, and then the other person was arguing that they weren't because they're not really trying to be sexy and what they could do to be sexier.
And
It was confusing format though, because the guy that was saying no, the nay side was saying that they were too sexy, and the yes side was saying they're not sexy enough, but they should be more sexy. For a scripted debate, it was confusing to follow.
fair.
Yeah.
I think they argued the exact points.
Yeah, exact same points.
Like, yeah, he was arguing that they're sexy. Not only that, they were too sexy.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
she
wasn't
was
he the negative side?
No. The girl, the girl who I think won the debate,
She
she put
definitely
way
won.
more energy into her argument. The other guy just sort of read from his phone.
I clapped for him though, because I was worried no one would clap for him.
Yes, he was doing that well.
Yeah.
If Sydney's clapping for you at an event,
You're
they ain't
not
looking
doing
so
well.
good.
Yeah, be
No.
aware.
I'm worried no one will clap for you.
But yeah, she was arguing the opposite, that they're not sexy, but they could be. It's like, this is what you do to make them sexy.
Give Tony the tiger 4 nipples, I think was one of her main points. Which, like, I think cats have 8 nipples.
Yeah.
But only if they're lady cats. I don't need to be seeing nipples at 8 in the morning. I don't even want to be conscious at 8 in the morning.
So that was your stance on the whole debate, was that they do not need to be sexier?
Yes.
Chris, what was your stance on it?
You know, I did see their point of view with Tony the Tiger being as much of a jock as he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they try to add a little bit of sex appeal. Like Mr. Clean, he's like the cereal version of Mr. Clean.
That's right. Yeah. That is true.
Because they had 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Sydney could also point this out about the expectations on how long the events and panels will take. It was supposed to take an hour. It was only about like a half hour.
Oh, they
Okay.
were flying through. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was a mess.
So like the first debate only took about like 10, 15 minutes, and the second one was only like 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh.
They were also doing, like, the structure was your opening statements, a SmackDown round, which was like a just free back and forth debate.
Yep.
And then a speed round with questions and then closing statements.
Yep.
And the SmackDown round was a bit cringe and a bit just...
I didn't think they want to hurt each other.
I don't think they wanted to hurt any feelings, so it wasn't very spicy.
To be fair, that's how the real debaters do it, so.
Mm-hmm.
From the CBC podcast.
Oh, I have never heard the podcast.
Oh.
I like CBC, though. They make good podcasts.
You should listen to the debaters. It's lots of fun.
I'll give it a listen.
Also, take this moment to say Sydney is one of those people who likes to hide at the back of a room at an event.
Okay, so this guy, we're like planning. We already planned because my like convention side just kicked in when I was like, this is a disaster. And Cheryl paid $65 and we got to try and cover some of this stuff. For nobody's fault, we ended up going during an event desert. So I'm just trying to make the best of it and study the schedule. So I was like, this is going to require us to leave events
It
like
was Sydney's
partway
fault.
through. Shut up. So that we can sort of maximize our time and our experience. So I went to sit at the back of the room so that we could sneak out quietly and without being in anyone's way and being a disruption. And he sat like the furthest you could physically sit from the door. So we would just have to cross the whole room. It was ridiculous.
I was getting a seat close to the front
Yes.
because we paid good money for these tickets, and we're just going to hide out on the edges.
So that
I
we
think
can
not.
sneak. Have you never sneaked? He's not a sneak guy. I'm a sneak guy.
You only hide on the outsides. The real sneaky people sit right in the middle and then disappear.
It was also really fucking funny trying to watch the furries sneak in. Because there's no sneaking.
No.
Someone was a half fish, and like that was a disaster. Because they walked in a bit late, and she's trying to figure out how to sit on the chair, but she's half of a fish. So the fish had to come off, and there was just like tons of rustling.
Yeah. So the room that it took place in is sort of like a conference room. The side that the performers, the debaters were on, was also the same side the door was on, which was left open the entire thing. So you can see people like walking past and like peeking in.
Yeah.
Like huge distraction.
Yeah, fair. It's not
Walking
the
in
best.
and out.
And they had an event in the room next, and it was not very soundproof.
Oh, that's also not very good.
It was not the highest budget convention I've been to, I'll say. So
The second debate, I believe, was...
I wrote it down.
What was it?
Is Alberta a good place to be a furry? And then they got a bunch of people that were not from Alberta to debate it.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, one of them was from BC, the other one was from Toronto.
Okay.
And either of them only had like a tiny, vague amount of knowledge of Alberta and even Edmonton in general. So that all they could really say was a bunch of jokes about how we're all about oil and we're just like Texas.
They were like, all anyone knows about Edmonton is that they have that mall. It's like, we're a capital fucking city. We have a legislature here. So there. Although someone asked a question about like a song that was specifically written about Alberta, like what was the title of that song, and one of the guys said God Bless Texas, and that was fucking funny. That was pretty funny. But yeah, limited knowledge of Alberta on all sides.
Fair.
I feel like since it was scripted because everyone was reading off their phones, they could have done a little bit more homework.
Yeah.
They could have sold it to the locals a bit better.
Yeah, missed opportunities.
It's true.
And the naysayer that said it's not a good place to be a furry said that we're speciest because we don't have any rats here. And he was like, what's that about? And I wanted to get involved in the debate because, like, I'll fucking tell you what that's about. We save millions of dollars a year in crop destruction and infrastructure destruction and all these other things because we don't have rats.
You should have done it.
I should have done it. I honestly thought about it. I was like, don't you fucking come to my province, which is kind of a trash bag province, but it's my trash bag. You don't talk shit about it. You're not from here.
Yeah.
You gotta earn the right to talk shit about Alberta.
I realized that you weren't inserting yourself in these positions because you wanted to get invited back.
Yeah, clearly. Clearly.
Did they
And I just know a lot about why we don't have rats in Alberta. Clearly more than the debater did. And the pros and cons of not having rats in Alberta.
I don't think you got the point of the debaters.
I got sidetracked by that particular point.
I think you got the point that it was all comedy.
Well, do your research. Saving millions out here.
So then Sydney got angry and the rest of the debate just like went out the window because she was just fuming.
No, I wasn't really fuming. But I'm just saying, if you want to talk about rats in Alberta, I'll talk about rats in Alberta.
All right.
So I got sidetracked by the rat point. I don't even know who won because Chris, without warning, we didn't even coordinate it. He just got up and ran out of the room with reckless abandon.
I didn't run. I briskly walked out of the room.
He strode.
I snuck out of the room, and only you noticed.
That was not sneaking. It was flagrantly obvious. Chris is not about minimizing his impact on a room, apparently. I was
To
sneaking.
be fair, it's kind of hard when you're as tall as Chris is.
I guess so.
It's true. You can only just get in and out quickly. People forget you were there by the moment you're gone.
Yeah.
I sneaked.
Well done.
I still see people messaging it on the message board. Who was that girl with the frowny face staring at her shoes the whole time?
I wasn't frowning. I just had a regular face. You had a frowny face.
Not the pictures Chris sent me.
Chris is annoying.
So then, what, I guess the question in regards to that, because Chris, you had mentioned, like, I wonder if we'll see protesters there when I was dropping you off downtown. Were there protesters there? Would Alberta be a good place to be a furry?
I didn't see any protesters.
Okay,
I was
good.
keeping an eye out for them because there was those rumors flying around online that
Yeah.
schools are putting litter boxes in classrooms to make them more furry friendly.
That was fake, though.
It doesn't matter. There's a lot of fake things that
People believe it's real. It's like when everyone thought there'd be a toilet paper shortage and they're like filling up their home.
Yeah.
There's what people just hear and believe, and there's what people like hear
that
and
so
look
much
into.
about bully? I feel like that was just a cheap, actionable thing that people could do. When you feel like you don't have any control over a situation and you get an idea in your head that this is something that you can do, that's what people do.
Yeah, like protesting furries.
I guess. I don't know.
Cheap, actionable, something you can do,
Yep.
and completely pointless, and you don't do your homework.
Yep.
Whatever. Well, there was no protesters.
Ah, excellent. So then would you say that Alberta is a good place to be a furry?
I don't think Alberta's a good place.
I feel like
But I've earned the... Go ahead.
Alberta's already against so many minorities as the culture here. I think by extension, I can't say furries specifically, but I have friends who are Asian or of different ethnicities, and they have stories that you're just like, really? That happened to you here?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, the one thing I would say that they have to their advantage, just looking at this from an outsider perspective, this is where you make all the money. It's cheap to live, and you get oil and gas money, and you can afford to buy a $4,000 fursuit.
That's the thing I was wondering, and that was one of the debaters' points, and I was wondering, is the reason we're seeing... I was shocked to see as many full fursuits as we saw, because I know they are expensive.
Yeah.
So is that why?
It's part of the reason, I would imagine.
Yeah.
There are also a lot of YouTube videos, if you go look it up, on how to make your own fursuit, which might cut down on costs a little bit.
It might, but it's still expensive. Like, you're just going to
yeah.
have to have, like, a sewing machine and ability to plan.
Well, at least for my friends that used to make outfits for, like, anime conferences and stuff like that, the year that you, like, are out doing your whatever with your costume, you're already planning for your next year's costume.
Yeah.
And you just, like, spend the rest of the next year working on it until the next convention.
Yeah, I have friends that used to do cosplay and stuff too, and like they would just drop crazy amounts on those dresses and stuff from like get pre-made ones or that, or even if you get a pre-made dress. Like my friend she was 6 feet tall, so she played Lust from Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, cool.
She had long black hair and she was tall.
Yeah.
She got like a pre-made dress, but then you still got to go get like the gloves. She had to do the artwork for the symbol. So even if you get a pre-made costume. So yeah, I don't know that Alberta's a good place for anything, but here we are and the rent is cheap.
So then, was it only the 2 debates?
That we saw because someone just ran out of the room.
Well, that's what they
said.
They said at the start that there would be 2 debates.
Yeah.
But that also only took them to 28 minutes, so who knows what they would have done for the next 32 minutes. Not us, because we left.
Well, we had left because we had discussed wanting to go to the 2 other panels that were happening at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of them was a panel about inflatables.
It was in the next room over, and then Chris just looks in the room and he's like, I'm not fucking doing that. And then just kept walking.
So, like, on our way to the debaters, like, we saw in the window, and they're, like, working on inflating the inflatables at the time.
Okay.
And, like, there's just, like, a guy lying on the floor inflating an inflatable flat out on his back. Looked like he's like just half relaxing, half inflating something, and I can see them like inflating like other things, so I'm like, what are they actually doing in there? And so
it didn't seem like a panel.
Yeah, fair.
We expected it would be a panel where you go in and sit down and like listen, and it was just a room of guys
inflating things.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that was at the start. That was because the debate started at 3:00. The inflatable thing started at 3:30.
Okay.
And while we're waiting for the debate to start, I'm like looking at my phone. I was like, what is actually it about? And it's like, come check out the inflatables and meet other people who are interested in inflatables. And I'm like,
oh.
Okay.
I'm like, that doesn't really sound that informative.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't read any of the event descriptions. So I thought it was like a question. I thought they were all like you sit in a chair and there'll be like a presentation.
Yeah, no. Guess not.
No.
Wow.
So the other panel that was happening at the exact same time was how to become a furry-based business.
Okay.
And I thought that seems more informative.
Mm-hmm.
And like as we left, and like we left at 3:28 so we could make it to the other panel. Not like Sydney, who likes to be hours late for everything.
Oh, is that? I didn't know we were in a rush. He just took off running across the whole thing, and I have stubby legs.
It's called a clock, which was on the wall by the door.
I didn't know.
There is literally nothing else on the wall.
I didn't even know there was a clock in the room.
Did you know it had walls in there?
Yeah, I knew there was walls, obviously.
Did you know we walked right by that clock to get out? by that very same door.
I was busy trying not to disturb people. You can't just get up and walk out of a room, you freak. Stressful. He's a stressful guy.
So we got up there, walked down the stairs. Sydney doesn't like stairs.
And there was people in front of us and we were trapped.
We weren't trapped. They were going the same way we were.
They didn't know if they could go out that door though. And I was like, we're going to be trapped here forever.
And then I said, yeah, we can. And then we went through the door. Because we had gone through that door like slightly earlier in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas
when he was just running around exploring everything.
Sydney would have just stood there quietly in his stairwell with strangers.
Forever. Until the end of time.
And not given them any direction on that door's okay to use, which she full well knew.
I was afraid. I was afeared.
Everything about yesterday was a fearful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of people. I just felt like I was in everybody's way all the time.
Fair.
And so we made our way to the how to run a furry-based business. And this was another example of where Sydney just stands the most back of the room as possible, where I just went up and grabbed one of the empty seats near the front.
The most at the front that he possibly could.
Does that bother you?
Yeah, I stayed at the back.
Okay.
Again, Cheryl spent good money on our tickets.
You can see, these aren't big rooms. You can see the whole event from the back. You don't have to, you can hear everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually left and got a water because I was thirsty.
You spent good money and you're like, oh, I'll take the standing room only seats.
What does it matter? I'm getting the same content. Which it turns out running a furry-based business is just running a business. Spoilers.
Well, it's not spoilers if you continue talking about the event instead of defending your standing at the back of a room.
I sat eventually after I got my water. But I'm just not a get in people's way and rustle around and move guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just like quietly go stand at the back.
Mm-hmm. Would you say there was more people in the debate one than there was in the starting a furry business one?
There was way more in the business one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
There was other people who stood in the back, so there's a bunch of other Sydneys there. But there's a few
I'm
chairs
not the
up.
weird one. You're the weird one.
There was, a seat right next to me. You could have just followed.
You can't just like... Well, I couldn't see. I thought you only picked one seat. I thought you didn't even find a 2-seat spot.
That's because you just hid
I don't
in
like
the
to
back.
shuffle past people. I'm not a shuffle past people person. I don't like to disrupt or inconvenience people.
We need to just keep a list of all these things that Sydney doesn't like or she brought up in this episode.
Nothing person.
I'm just a nothing person. I don't like to bother people. I don't want to bother you by like walking past you or shuffling past you or making noise or like breathing too loud.
Whoa.
I'm just like a don't mind me. I'm not even here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even worry about it. Well, I don't know. When I go to conventions, I don't just run up to the very front. I just sort of shuffle in quietly. Just sneak all around the town.
But not past people.
But not past people.
Okay.
So what did you learn about running a furry-based business, Sydney?
Oh, not for me.
Not
She
for
was
you.
there was like 3 slides on time management and I was like, this is not for me.
Do you remember what she was saying about time management?
That you have to have it. I was like, I don't. Thank you.
Do you recall her saying she had ADHD?
Yeah, but there's different kinds of ADHD. We don't have the same ADHD, that's for sure.
I think you just like coming up with excuses for not doing things.
So what if I do? Now what?
You're an excuse guy.
You're an excuse guy. I don't like time management. It's not my friend. Time management is a scam.
Other than you hyper-fixating on time management and you'll never have your own furry business ever because you don't have time management, what else did you learn?
Why the fursuits are so expensive? Because she showed us the formula. It's you got to pay yourself your hourly wage times the time it takes plus something else to make a profit. It was a math formula.
Yeah, so it would be materials.
Yeah.
And then, because this is the huge argument that I have every time people are like, you should knit something or you should have a business where you make, and I was like, it's like no one's gonna pay that much money for my knitting.
They might. But also, I don't think that you have to make everything into a business because
No.
I'm not a business guy.
Yeah.
You can just do things because you like it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. What did you learn about running a furry business, Chris?
So most of it I kind of already known because I do run my own art business. So it's not quite new to me. But one thing I did learn...
But do you do commissions?
Yep.
Oh.
She was talking about how you don't keep your money in PayPal because PayPal's not like a regular bank. They'll seize your funds or
Yeah.
close your account for reasons like they'll only tell themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it had me thinking, like, it's been a while since I checked my PayPal because I get royalties funneled through there sometimes for other artworks I did. And I found out I had like $50 in there.
Well
so
done.
Nice.
I learned I had $50 on PayPal.
Mhm.
Excellent.
But the rest of it, yeah. Don't
You
use
can't just
PayPal as your bank.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rest of it, time management. Don't take on too many projects. Kind of have an idea of how long your projects take. Keeping your customers in the loop on just how the progress is going.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of normal art things
Yeah.
that you don't really think about unless you've never run your own business before.
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
true.
And she said that, like, keep your waiting list short.
Yes.
Because if you are quoting someone now for a project next year, you could be underpricing future you.
Yeah.
So really, it was just like a normal business thing.
Okay.
Yeah. We were late, so I don't even know what she makes.
It's all good.
Yeah.
She's working full-time for herself
Okay.
ever since the pandemic when she was sort of forced to do it.
Yeah.
And she's been making it work.
Good for her.
Yep.
That's the dream.
I think she said she used to be an English teacher, though, so kind of an indictment of our provincial education system.
Yeah.
That an English teacher would rather make furry suits and freelance than
Yeah.
teach.
It's fair.
Well, they don't like educated people here voting.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's right. So then what was the next panel you guys went to? Or was that it?
Then we got a ride home.
Yeah. So
Nice.
that brought us to 4:00 because you and I had plans later on the day. I'm
Sure
like,
did.
we should go.
Yep.
This is another thing where they sort of didn't properly explain how long things would take
Mm-hmm.
because it was said it was only supposed to be a half hour and it got to like 4:00. It started at 3:30 and it would already had been at full steam when we walked in the room.
Yep.
And it was at that time where like it didn't look like it was going to end, so I was messaging Sydney on my phone because she stayed way in the back and she couldn't sit next to me.
I was
and
appeared.
you said that you would ask Mom to pick us up at 4, and then you were tracking Mom on your tracking app.
Yeah.
Because you're weird.
Yeah, it's giving you a play-by-play.
Mm-hmm.
And so
It's
we
the
didn't
mom
get
tracker.
didn't get to stay to the end of the panel just because we chose that time to go.
Fair.
Yeah, I don't even care if it's weird. It's like so convenient for rides. It's like having Uber.
That was the end.
Yep.
So the photos that you were taking of each other on phones, how did you manage to do that with both of you sitting on opposite ends of the room?
So that one where I sent where it was like Sydney's on her phone and I took a picture of her on her phone.
Yeah.
It was because she had sat in the back and I did not.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked at her and like waved her to come over and she just gave me this like evil venomous look.
Did not. It was I have a normal face and normal face expressions.
Not to people looking at it.
Chris is dramatic.
And then after about like 5 minutes, I think the pressure got to her and she came over.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that was during the debate that she tried to sit next to me.
But the other one was too crowded.
Yeah.
Too crowded.
There was 2 other seats next to me
I didn't see them.
that you could have easily sat in.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I also decided I was thirsty, so I had to go get water.
Well done.
So it was good to be at the back because I just walked out.
So because this was Broadway themed, was there any Broadway themed costumes that you saw wandering around?
No.
Okay.
Not really, no. I think there was like some stage entertainment bits that were going on like at the during the nighttime portion.
Are you mad you paid $65 for this for each of us?
No.
Is this enough content for you?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. We're good. I mean, there are a lot of people who are very excited for you to do this episode, so
It's true.
And if you had sent me by myself, I would still be in that hallway in the staircase. So,
huddled in the corner, afraid to leave.
yeah.
Okay. I did want to ask, I asked Chris yesterday, but he was like, no spoilers until tomorrow. The badges. I noticed there's a beaver on there. A, did you see anyone dressed as a beaver?
No.
Okay. B, do they all have a beaver on them?
Ours did, but maybe that's because they're the full weekend pass.
Okay.
Also, no one checked. You could have come.
Yeah.
They only checked to go into the marketplace, but not in the front of the hotel and not in any of the panels.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I said that Chris should have given you his pass this morning so that you would have had to go too.
Yeah.
There's no real panels going on this morning, so
Yeah.
you would have just been there for the market.
Yeah, it was also hard to. So like the cons that I used to go to, I think were a little bit maybe higher budget production value wise. I was sort of confused. Like everything was either just rated by PG-13 or R. Where like other conventions that I go to, it'll say like this is a meet and greet, this is a panel. We kind of just were of the impression that everything was like a panel.
Right, fair.
So it was confusing. That would be my advice for their next year. Is just maybe color code based on event type.
Fair.
Do you remember what you thought was going to happen in the inflatable room?
No.
How you remembered My Strange Addiction?
Oh, yeah. Because he had like an orca or something. And there was this guy on My Strange Addiction that was addicted to pool inflatables. And I was like, maybe we shouldn't go in there.
Yeah. He had a orca inflatable that he would bring to bed with him. He had some weird attachments to those inflatables.
Yeah.
You might have been there. Maybe you set up the room.
Maybe.
But as soon as I saw the orca, I was like, oh my, it's like a Strange Addiction.
Yeah. So I guess, because this is the end of season 3, how are you guys all feeling about it?
Can you do this for 3 more years, Sydney?
For 3 more years? You want to do 6 seasons in a movie?
You
I
just
mean it.
That's a community joke.
You just stared like a million-mile stare there for a moment.
I did do a million-mile stare. I don't know. I feel medium about it.
Medium.
I was just more excited before the pandemic. Now I don't really want to do things or go places.
Now that you're allowed to.
I was like so afraid people were going to talk to me the entire convention. I just don't want to talk to strangers anymore.
You didn't have to talk to any strangers, did you?
Thank God. I will say that all of the furries did a really good job at not talking to me. I was like, thank you for that. I'm just not a stranger danger guy.
Fair.
You're a nothing guy.
Just a nothing guy.
I guess the next question is, would you recommend the furry convention to other people?
I will say that the people that like furry stuff, they all seem to be having a good time.
Okay.
And I want to know where that guy got his phone drone. That was neat.
Amazon?
I don't know.
There was a guy who had a drone. He was filming the parade from outside. Cool. And it was the kind where you just clip your phone onto it.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure those are available everywhere. People were using those when Pokemon Go came out to cheat.
That's true, yep.
Oh, that's real smart. Clever. But no, he had the phone on his thing, I think. The drone had its own camera. Well, I don't know. I didn't ask.
I mean, you can get, like, Cheryl and I just bought a little mini camera that beams video back to your phone live, maybe delayed by a second.
Yep.
Well, it was a big, crazy event, and I went and I did it. You're welcome.
Good job. Chris,
I was still looking forward to a Broadway-themed thing, so.
Yes. Sorry, this is
rude.
It. Chris, what was your thought on the furry convention?
They're creepy. I don't like it. Fair. I won't go back.
Fair.
They look like they're having fun.
Yeah.
Especially like the full suit furries, because like you can't really talk through a giant fluffy mask.
This is true.
So they're all doing like mime movements, like really exaggerated gestures. I'm like, I didn't like that.
Why did you make me go to this then? You didn't even like it.
Because I knew you wouldn't like it.
That's rude. This counts as your birthday present. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Turd guy.
How about your thoughts on season 3?
Season 3? You know, I think we had a lot of things working against us for like planning it.
Yeah.
One of them was like, even though everything opened up post-pandemic, there was sort of an OA or just a desert of events.
Yeah, things are starting to open up a little bit more, and I think season 4 will be a little bit easier to find things to do. Like, if we can find L. Ron Hubbard's birthday party again.
Yep.
We should go.
I think we should get a second in the field cast member that just does all the stuff I don't want to do.
I see.
You mean the whole reason why we started this podcast? You just want to replace yourself?
Maybe. Just for like stuff that I don't want to do. I would go to a drone convention. Because when I said that's cool drone, Chris was like, you want to go to a drone convention? I was like, yes. I do.
But you don't want to do L. Ron Hubbard's birthday party anymore?
I'm afraid they'll talk to me.
I mean, that is the fun of a birthday party, yeah.
Yeah. I just have more stranger danger now than I used to.
I sincerely doubt Sydney's willingness to do things. I think we're wearing her down as things go on. I think the more reasons we get her to go outside today, the less willing she's to go outside today.
That's fair.
Yeah. Turns out I don't like to go outside.
You just like to hide underground.
Well, I do want to move back above ground because I think it's crippling for my mental health to live in
Yeah.
a basement suite. So, I don't know. Maybe we got to go to Toronto. Maybe that guy's right and they got better events out there.
You want to go to the furry convention in Toronto?
No, I didn't say that and you know it.
That was the guy's whole point.
I would go to different types of conventions maybe. I don't know. I did used to go to conventions. You know what I always wanted to go to is ZombieCon in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a cool convention.
But you don't like horror things.
I like zombies though.
Okay.
Is there like a disaster con? Or just
Probably.
like disaster movies?
I bet there's like doomsday preppers.
I don't
and they
want
have
like that.
conventions.
No, I just want like a convention but 2012. Like the movie, but as a convention.
Like a climate change symposium.
Maybe. No. Stupid.
Isn't that what it's all about? Real life disasters.
Yes.
Yeah.
How our food webs are gonna suddenly collapse. And
Crime Con?
Maybe I would go to a crime con.
I would love to go to a crime con.
how do you feel about the way things have gone this year, Cheryl?
Yeah, I would say it was a little bit harder to find things to do this year. I would agree with that. I also think that this year my attention is a little bit more divided than it has been in some of our previous seasons, so that also makes it a little bit more difficult
Mm-hmm.
being back in school part-time, so
Plus we had to plan a wedding, carry off a wedding.
and go on a honeymoon.
I also think with the first year was when the pandemic started.
Yes.
Luckily, we'd managed to get a bunch of stuff beforehand,
Yeah.
like that we had gone to and record them. And then the second year, everything opened up all again, and then there was a lot of events because people were like, "Oh, we can finally go out and do things." And by the time like the third year rolled around, because like we had gone through like another
Lockdown.
wave of locking things down, and then things reopened, I think people were just so cautious. No one was like booking any event halls or anything. So I'm willing to bet this next year people are gonna be, we'll be finding our step with finding things to do.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I'd found some things already. Like I found the movie screening about how the government is killing the church
Yep.
with all their COVID restrictions. That looks amusing.
Oh.
There's another screening about how unfair it is that Health Canada is making things harder for natural supplement people to sell their imaginary pills.
I'll go to, like, I think that's the problem. I was way more willing to, like, engage with people and maybe meet people in the first season, which I think is more interesting. And now I'm just, like, more depressed. And I don't want to talk to people because people are horrible.
Fair.
And the whole time we've been doing this podcast, I've been in a client-facing role, just
Yes.
getting more and more slowly beaten down and soul crushed. And it just makes my tolerance really short. My favorite thing about the furry convention is that no one tried to talk to me. That
Well
was
done.
the best.
I talked to you.
You did. You're like, smile. I was like, this is what my face looks like. You've seen it before.
I've seen it
I think we
smile.
also learned that we're very different convention people. He'll just go down all the hallways all around the town.
We paid to be there.
Stressful. What if someone had come up to us and been like, hey, you can't be here?
Then you just turn around and go back.
Like, oh, sorry, my
I would
bad.
have just like died from shame.
Oh, even though they didn't have any signs up, so how are you supposed to know?
We should have just known.
Oh.
This is what I mean. Different people.
All right.
We should just know all the things all the time.
That's not going to happen.
But I'll sit in the dark and watch a documentary about the government killing the church. That sounds dope.
Excellent. We also have something set up for you. Even though normally we take a break this time of year, Chris and I already have an event for season 4 picked out. So,
For a September episode? That's right, no new episode until September 13th.
yeah. So,
Yay, happy season finale. We did it.
I think I'd have to double check. This might be our 35th episode.
I need to double check the numbers. It's probably on Spotify.
Yeah.
Listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Don't listen
Or
to us
anywhere
on,
you get your podcasts.
not on Stitcher anymore because Stitcher's shutting down.
Yeah. Bye, Stitcher.
Bye, Stitcher.
If you like our podcast, share it with your friends. We would like to grow our audience a little bit. Maybe start making a little bit of money.
Send Sydney to ZombieCon.
Uh-huh.
I would go to ZombieCon. That would be all right. I'm not talking to any zombies, though.
Would you groan at them and moan?
No.
Would you shamble towards a fellow zombie?
I mean, I'm shambling all the time anyway, so If it
So
wasn't,
that's a yes. You'll shamble towards a fellow zombie.
if it wasn't extra shambling. If I already had to shamble that way, I might as well shamble.
Well, that brings us to the end of season 3 of the I Went Outside Today podcast. Make sure to tune back into us in September on the 13th for our season 4 premiere. This is one of your 3 hosts, Chris, signing off.
This is Cheryl signing off.
I'm Sydney. I did the thing.
You did the furry thing.
I did the furry thing.
Clap, 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 clap. You've made so many people happy.
How many people wanted me to do the furry convention?
Everyone I personally know. Thanks for listening to today's very special episode of the I Went Outside Today podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, spread the joy and share us with your friends or leave a review.
If you really enjoy our podcast and you want to support us in doing more episodes, consider donating to our Patreon or leave us suggestions in the comment section on our website or social media. Or you can email us at iwentoutsidepod@gmail.com.
And make sure you follow us on our social medias. We got Twitter. We got Facebook. We don't got Snapchat because that's for creeps.
We don't have Twitter.
We don't have Twitter.
Facebook and Instagram.
We got Facebook,
Oh,
Insta.
fuck. Okay. I'm not going to do it again. It's not going to be as good. Why don't we have Twitter? We got Facebook. We got Instagram. And you can see all our photos and adventures that don't get turned into episodes because every day of our life is an adventure. Bye.